Hello and welcome back. Susanzummo here, intuitive and originator of soul patterning harmonics. Well, this week's message is a good one. Um, what I heard this morning was welcome to the zombie apocalypse. Spiritual fortitude is now needed. How's that for an interesting topic? Well, we've been talking a lot lately about the physical impacts of all of these energies coming in right now. And some of us, myself included, are still going through them. And as I mentioned last week, that is going to continue to happen. However, I was asked today to speak about the emotional impacts and the emotional changes that are happening as a result of these incoming frequencies. Physicality is not the only aspect of us being impacted or exhibiting symptoms. Now you may begin to become aware of, if you have not already, of emotional upheaval happening in those around you, or maybe even yourself. I'm going to say in a very uh, blunt way, people look like they're becoming unhinged. And you're going to see erratic behavior in people that you have not seen it in before. And you're going to see extreme emotions. If this describes you, you're going to want to put all the techniques that you have learned, all the things that we have talked about, into practice in terms of healing those emotions, releasing those emotions, and coming into balance. I've spent years in my classes, in my individual sessions, and on this channel talking about the need to heal the emotions, the need to come into balance. This is the time to really put that to work, because you are going to see people come into your life, if they're not already in your life, who are going to become unstable as a result of these energies coming in. Now, there may be other factors as well, but what's happening is as these energies come in, they are bringing up to the surface, shaking up to the surface, things that have not been dealt with before. Human beings have a wonderful capacity to cope, to put in coping behaviors, to put in coping mechanisms that allow us to function in the world as we need to, without necessarily going down deep into what's underneath those coping mechanisms. So at this time, if there is something coming up for you, I want you to not look on the outside. I want you to look on the inside. And I want you to be fearless and encourage you to face those issues, whatever they may be. Deal with those emotions, whatever they are happening within you, and release them once and for all. We are coming into a phase right now where masking is no longer going to work. And so you're going to see a lot of things come to the surface that we have never had to deal with before. I can't tell you how busy spiritual therapists are going to be. I can't tell you how important it will be to find a support system that can help you work through this if you need that kind of support. And that's absolutely okay. You're going to want to support your own healing process with methods and individuals who are coming from a spiritual perspective or a higher perspective. Yes, they may give you some coping mechanisms while you're going through the process of healing and releasing, but they should not be a substitute for dealing what needs to be dealt with. So think of it in this way. You've got an old injury to your knee. You've been walking around with a brace, and over the years it's gotten a little worse, so you've taken some pain meds for it. You may be walking with a cane. You may be doing some exercises to strengthen the muscles. However, that injury needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be addressed, or it's going to worsen, and more coping mechanisms are going to need to be put in place. So what does that mean? It means that more extreme pain will start to come into your knee to let you know that what you are doing is no longer working and that something different needs to happen. And it is the same thing with emotions. You're going to see, if you haven't noticed already, people out in the world who are acting like zombies, who do behave like zombies. There are the soulless ones out there, right? There are the ones who are embracing by dark energies. They're embracing dark energies and being embraced by them. There are those who are in the destructive field, right? They're the B team, as I call them. There are those who have been physically, mentally, and emotionally numbed and are being manipulated through the media, through belief systems, through their own trauma, and are acting out. And if these things have not been addressed, they are going to become more erratic. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for those of us who are in the spiritual community, who have been working on our stuff, and who still have to function out in the world? It means that we need to be aware. It means that we still need to be compassionate for these individuals because we know that they are lost. They are either lost internally, externally, or both, but they are lost souls. And so we can have compassion for that. However, we do need to recognize them because they may not be individuals that we choose to engage with. And so that's a decision that each of us will have to make. There are those of us who want to help the world and want to heal the world. And one of the things that we need is discernment. We need to not be putting ourselves in a position that may harm us or harm others or will not benefit either one of us. Use your intuition. Use your discernment. If this is someone who is close to you, then offer them suggestions, give them recommendations, give them the tools that they will need to help themselves, and then step back. Remember, each of these individuals has their own will, and we must allow them to have it. So during this time where you may be out in the world among the walking dead, as we call them, those who have been animated but aren't really home for one reason or another, or those who are unable to mask or cope with the issues that they have never dealt with and are acting out, we need to be aware. We need to have our light around us. We do want to have an open heart, and we do want to send out love and blessings to our environment wherever we may find ourselves. And I normally wouldn't talk about something like this, but to not address it and to pretend that it's not there would not be a benefit or of service to anybody either. We can be aware without being dragged into negative frequencies. And I do want to tell you that despite what you might see on TV or in the news, we are actually in the majority. Most of us are not out on the streets running around, claiming our spirituality and standing out on a street corner and sending light out into the world. Most of us work quietly behind the scenes. We work in our own homes and within our own selves, and that's good work. We don't need to be out there trumpeting what we're doing day and night. I'm not talking about spiritual teachers. I'm not talking about those of us who are in the healing field or those who are in support of others, and especially those of us who are on these type of social media getting good information out to others. I'm talking about going out in the world and combating this in a physical way. That's not something that most of us in the spiritual community are doing, and that's okay. Everybody has their own role. But I do want to make you aware of this, especially If you are in a healing field and there is something within you that needs to be addressed, that has not been addressed for many, many years because all of the focus has been on healing others, this is not a warning sign, but an alert to you that it will be coming up for you as well. Healer, heal thyself. It is now time for us to look within and release what needs to be released. Heal what needs to be healed, and know that you can move forward from it. Hiding behind service to others will not be of benefit to you or anyone else. So therapists, healers, anyone in the medical profession who is of a spiritual light, who has a spiritual perspective or a higher purpose, you are going to be very, very busy now and in the foreseeable future. Intuitives, it is time for you to step aside from your issues and see clearly for those that you are working with. Time for projection is over, because now it is time to heal the inner once and for all. If you've been doing this for as long as I have, you know that there's not that much left in there. But whatever is, let's take a look at it and let's deal with it. If you are just starting out, seek out support, seek out help, and seek out advice. Use all of your resources, physical, mental, and emotional. Be in charge of your own health, and we will all move forward together in the best possible way. So that's the message for today. I know that you are not a zombie, but I know that they are walking around us, and we are walking near them. And so it is time for us to be aware, to deal with it, to heal it, and to have spiritual fortitude to do what we need to do for ourselves and the world. Ourselves and the world. All right, that's the message. So until next week, I wish you many blessings.